On episode 398 of the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, I discuss the road to wellness. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/398. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness podcast is here for you. I'm your host, Alan Meisner. I'm an NSAM certified personal trainer with a specialization in corrective exercise and fitness nutrition. Let me be your coach as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Hello, and thank you for being a part of the 40 Plus Fitness podcast. Today, we're going to talk about getting to wellness. This is going to be part two of what's basically now going to be a mindset series. Didn't originally plan it out to be a series, but it looks like it's working out that way. If you didn't listen to last week, episode 397, where I introduced the identity grid, probably worth you taking an opportunity to go back and listen to it, either before you listen to this episode or after. I'm going to try to make it make sense to you regardless of where you're coming into this series. But just know that episodes 397 through 399 are all a part of a three-part series where we're going to get into the mindset of getting well, because most of the folks that will come in to a gym or start a wellness program of some sort or another are really just feel kind of lost. They're busy. They've got so much going on, and they may not even know exactly what to do when they're getting started. Or they decide to try too many things and they fail from over fatigue. So getting yourself into the identity grid and looking at how that works, you can go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/grid, and having that in front of you might help you a little bit with this. But like I said, I'm going to do my best to make sure that this episode makes sense in and of itself. So when you get started on a wellness journey, there's often so much opportunity, so many things that you can change, so many different things that you can do, that it becomes very, very difficult to know exactly what is the right thing. And when someone asks me that, I always have to go back to, what's your vision? What are your long-term goals? I ask that question a lot, as you might imagine. And many times people don't really have a clear vision. They know that wellness is something that they're not. They know that it's probably going to involve some weight loss. They know that it's probably going to involve building some strength, probably involve building some stamina. But exactly how to get there is often where the struggle comes in. So as you start this journey, I'll just reinforce that you need to really break down your long-term goal. Get something in your head that you can feel, that you can, almost see. One of the things I did early on in my fitness endeavors was I pulled out a picture of myself when I was 29 years old. Now, at the time, I was well into my late 40s, so there's not much chance that I was going to look like I did when I was 29. Obviously, I had a lot more hair, even though I didn't have as much as I wanted at the time. So looking like that really wasn't something that I was interested in, but it kind of gave me an idea of, if this person aged much slower than I had, what would I look like today? And I was always able to kind of go back to that benchmark and think of it in those terms. But I couldn't go from where I was, like I said, in my late 40s, to looking like that unless I did something special. And I knew that my body was not going to be capable of putting in the level of effort to look like I did when I was 29. When I was 29, I put a lot more time into the gym, typically 10 hours or so a week, and I just didn't really have that luxury of time as I was getting in there. So it was very important for me to prioritize, which is, again, where that identity grid comes in, because it's going to help you balance out the four key aspects of your life. And if you know where you need to apply your energy based on who you are, how you identify in your entire life, not just as a wellness effort. Because if you just think of it in terms of wellness, well, life's going to get in the way. So you have to make sure you take all of those things into account before you set your path. And then you have to know exactly where you're starting from if you're going to get to that vision. So I knew I couldn't put that amount of time in the gym, so I needed to be very efficient and very effective with the work that I was going to do. And so I needed to go out and do the work, and I needed to do it in a methodical and patient way. Now, where a lot of people lose their way on this is that they either push so far out of their comfort zone by trying way too many things, or they don't push their comfort zone at all. So, I want to kind of talk about comfort zone for a little while because it's a very important line for you to understand. A lot of people will start a diet, they'll start an exercise program, and a whole lot of other things all at the same time. And so if you decide you're going to go from the standard American diet and your regular drinks and your regular things with your friends and your regular life to suddenly, and getting up off the couch and going to the gym 5 days a week, well, you're going to experience some pretty staggering, jarring things. DOMS is a real thing. And a lot of my clients, when they first get into an exercise regime, they're dealing with DOMS. And that's something that's very tough and difficult for us to deal with. But it is something that we need to kind of manage. We need to go through. So I would encourage you to find one or two big rocks, as I say in the book. What are those big things that are going to move the needle a little bit for you, get you moving in the right direction? So for a lot of people, it's just cutting out your sugar, cutting out the processed foods. Making that your first step on your nutrition is going to be a lot easier than saying, I'm going to go full vegan, or I'm going to just eat, grass-fed meats and pastured eggs and, organic produce. Making that drastic of a change might just be too far outside your comfort zone and set you up for failure, because the first day you find yourself pulling into a McDonald's, you're done. You're probably going to quit. Most of us do. When we get to that point where we make that mistake, we get off of the plan, we're too far beaten. So I would encourage you to find that little thing, that one big rock thing, let's say little but big rock, that you can put out there and that's going to be working towards your health. Let that get set as a habit. Let that get set as a part of who you are, a part of your identity. And then the next step becomes easier. The same thing with fitness. Initially you don't need to go out and try to run 5 miles a day if you've never been running. If you've been kind of couch ridden and not doing things, sedentary, getting out and trying to run 5 miles on your first day is going to probably break you. So get out for a half an hour and do a walk. If you find that comfortable, push a little harder. So the other side of the comfort zone is that knowing how to push. We can't get where we want to go by doing the things that we're currently doing. So if you're very comfortable in your life right now, to get well is going to put you in an uncomfortable position many, many times. As I mentioned earlier, you're probably going to deal with some muscle soreness, some DOMS. You're probably going to deal with achingness that sometimes might even disturb your sleep. And if you're trying to change your food, you're not going to be able to eat the foods, drink the drinks, do the things that you were doing if you want wellness. So as you look at moving towards that vision, you need to find your comfort zone and you need to push it. And the way I like to term it is the gentle nudges. We want to get just outside the comfort zone until we expand that comfort zone. Once the comfort zone has been expanded, it's time to push a little bit more, just that gentle nudge to get that comfort zone to expand. That's going to allow us to progress on our journey, and that's going to allow us to get the results that we need. Now, so many times as people approach this wellness journey, they approach it like a project. They're like, oh, well, I'll go on this diet, I'll change the way I'm going to eat, and then when I get to my goal weight or my goal size, then I'll go back to what I was doing. So it's a project. They manage it like a project. Okay, I'm on the diet, and then I'm off the diet. The project is there. The project is either successful or not, and then I'm off. That's not going to work in the long term. Aging is a slow declining curve. It's going to take us down over time. So this needs to be more of a program, something that you're going to put in place, something that is, like I said, going to become a part of your identity. I see it a lot, particularly with things like runners. I see it in CrossFit. I see it in some other places where people will begin to identify with the activity that they're doing. You ask someone that runs who they are, they're going to say, I'm a runner. Someone that does CrossFit, they're a CrossFit athlete. They don't make any qualms about it. That's built into the fabric of who they are. It becomes a part of their identity. You look at a gym rat, they're in the gym every day. They identify with being a gym rat, they identify with being there. And it's not that you have to identify with being a gym rat or identify with being a CrossFit athlete or a runner. It just means that you need to put this in your head that this is just a part of who you are. I mean, as I mentioned in the last episode, when I was in college, I was a college student, I was a husband, I was a full-time manager, and I was a gym rat. So I had a set period of time, 2 hours each afternoon between classes and my time as a manager at a retail pharmacy, where I was in the gym every single day. And that was just a part of my identity. It was part of my natural path, getting off of school, getting into my car, driving over to the gym, spending the time there, driving home, showering, and going to work. That was my normal schedule every single day, every single weekday anyway. So what you'll want to do is really kind of build this in over time, slowly pushing your comfort zone and then just making it a part of who you are. So you kind of have this program that's in place. You've reprogrammed your brain. You've reprogrammed your identity. And that's going to be what's going to get you the most juice. That's going to make you successful in the long haul. So this is not a project that you do and then you're done. This is something that becomes a part of you. And then you're in this new position where it's a part of your identity and you can make some basic decisions. And those decisions are going to be around improvement and preventing regression. So a perfect example is me. I tore my rotator cuff and there was a bit of a regression because I wasn't able to do the things that I was doing. I was lifting, getting much stronger, and I really enjoyed doing that. I identified with that. But once I tore my rotator cuff, that kind of went out the window for a while. I wasn't able to lift until I was healed. And it's taken me even today. I still have some strength loss in that particular shoulder. So it's now I'm on a continual improvement program for myself where I'm going to work on getting better and better and stronger. And I'm also being very careful to make sure that the issue I had with my right shoulder is not something that I repeat with my left shoulder. So I'm also on a program to try to avoid regression, try to avoid injuries. So I'm being much smarter, much more fastidious about how I do my lifts, the types of lifts I do, and I'm working my way through, but I'm still working on getting stronger. I'm still lifting relatively heavy weights, and that's how you go about this. So as kind of a recap, and this was a shorter lesson, but it's a part of the 3-part lesson. I'd really encourage you to go back to episode 397 and listen to that episode. Download the identity grid at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/grid and kind of just go through that exercise. And then you come to this exercise where, now that you kind of have a general idea of where you need to focus your energy and the amount of time and effort you're going to have, start pushing that comfort zone in the areas that are going to give you the improvements you want. You want to get stronger. You want to get a little bit more stamina. You maybe want to lose some weight or at least lose some body fat so that your body composition is better. All of those are good things for you to focus on. And you probably know, if you listen to many of these episodes, you probably know a lot of the things that you can be doing to make that happen. Pick your big ones and implement them. Make it a part of a program. Make it something that you're now trying to put into you to make you comfortable at a bigger and higher and stronger and faster rate. Slowly pushing that comfort zone, the gentle nudges, making it a part of your identity with program management. And then once you kind of start seeing things happen, adding more of those things that you know are going to improve you or at least keep you from regressing. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'll talk to you next week. If you haven't had a chance, I would really appreciate if you would take just a moment to go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/finalist. You'll get to that page. You're going to see that the Author Academy Awards, we've been put as a finalist for the health category. So if you go to that page, 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/finalist, finalist, you'll find a page. Go down a little bit. You'll see an arrow where you can scroll to the health category. It's on page 6 of 17. A little hard to find, but go to that page, find page 6 of 17, and you'll see the wellness roadmap is right there on the top. Just click on the book cover. They're not asking for your email. They're not asking for anything else. Just click that, and that's your vote. Really appreciate the votes. I really do want to win this award. It means a lot that I was nominated as a finalist, and I really would appreciate if you take just a moment, go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/finalist, page 7 of 16, and vote for the Wellness Roadmap. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we get into part 3 of this mindset series. Are you committed? Until then, have a happy and healthy week.